Hello everybody and welcome to a simple explanation of how Aperture works in film photography. So to understand Aperture, you need to first understand the basics of how a camera works. When light passes through a small hole, it is projected onto the other side of that hole and flipped upside down. Every film camera functions on this principle. This principle is called camera obscura. When you take a photo, the shutter forms a hole. The size of this hole is very important. The larger the hole, the more light is allowed to enter the camera, but this in turn makes less of the image in focus. In other words, the focal length is smaller. On your lens, there will generally be a dial with the numbers 1.6 to 16, maybe it might go higher or lower, but generally around these numbers. These numbers represent the different aperture sizes. 1.6 will open the shutter very wide and also reduce the focal length of the image to quite small. 16 will open the shutter very little, but in turn makes the focal range much larger. So this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. When you're taking a photo in more dimly lit space, there's less light bouncing around, able to enter the camera and react to the film. This can lead to an underexposed image, like this. Obviously, factor in this is also how reactive your film is. You might have a 100 ASA film where you're going to need to have a lower aperture quite often, unless you're in a very well lit area. On the other hand, you might have a 800 ASA film, for example, and be able to get away with having a large aperture in more dimly lit spaces. The more that you shoot film, the more you'll get to understand the concept of aperture and how it coincides with your shutter speed and the exposure of the final image. So really it's just down to practice and bearing this in mind. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. That was a simple introduction to Aperture in film photography. I'm out, boys.